My name is Intan Noraida. Today I would like to present about the flexible work arrangement. Firstly, the definition of flexible work arrangement are any policies, practice, formal or informal, which permit people to vary when and where work is carried out by Maxwell, Rankin, Bell and McVicker 2007. And then the issue of flexible work arrangement has gained critical attention within the human resource, particularly due to its implications on productivity, employee satisfaction and talent retention. And then case study focus on Western Digital Malaysia Sendian Berhad and Globaltronics Technology Berhad, which selected for their representativeness in terms of their role in manufacturing and their differing approach to flexible work arrangements. And then the significance of the case, which lies in its ability to reveal the interplay between technological infrastructure, organizational culture and administrative policies that influence the successful implementation of flexible work arrangements. Threefold objective of the slides or poster, which is to identify the determinants of flexible work arrangement adoption in high technological manufacturing, and then to assess the effectiveness of current interventions and to propose practical recommendations aligned with good governance and administrative best practice. And then the structure of the slides or poster, including the introduction, background or context, objective and research question, and then methodology, key finding and analysis, and then discussion, and then recommendation, and the last one, conclusion and implications. Next is background or context. Western Digital Organizational Profile. Western Digital Malaysia Sendian Berhad operates within the electrical and electronics manufacturing sector with a mandate to produce hard disk drive, HDDs, solid state drives, SSDs, and support global innovation through research and development R&D service. And then identified issues. In recent years, the organization has encountered challenges relating to communication breakdowns during remote work and limited system accessibility outside the office environment. And then audit and review evidence. External audits and internal performance reviews have pointed to miscommunication regarding task execution, reduced clarity in remote roles, and technical issues such as restricted access to statistical process control (SPC) system. Systematic relevant understanding this context is vital as it reflects broader systemic patterns in high technological manufacturing organizations and offers lessons on digital infrastructure, remote communication protocols, and adaptive administrative policies. And then organizational profile of Globaltronics Technology Sendian Berhad operates within the semiconductor manufacturing sector with a mandate to assemble the test components such as sensors, LEDs, and integrate circuits, as well as to provide customized engineering service. And then the identified issues. In recent years, the organization has encountered challenges relating to communication gaps, performance monitoring in remote settings, and limited remote access to essential engineering software. And then audit and review evidence, which is the external audits and internal performance reviews, have pointed to issues such as message misinterpretation during online interactions, difficulty in evaluating employee accountability remotely, and office-only access to tools like AutoCAD. Systematic relevant understanding this context is vital as it reflects broader systematic patterns in semiconductor and precision engineering industries and offer lessons on flexible policy implementation, employee oversight mechanism, and digital.
And research. This study was conducted with three main objectives in mind. First, it aimed to examine the root causes of challenges in implementing flexible work arrangement (FWA) in Western Digital and Globaltronics. Second, it seeks to evaluate the adequacy of existing policy, procedure, and practices related to FWAs. Third, the study intends to propose feasible and sustainable improvement grounded in the principle of administrative science. To achieve this objective, the study is guided by three key research questions. The first is, what are principal factors contributing of the FWA implementation challenge? The second asks, how do existing organizational mechanisms address this issue? Finally, the third research question is, what reform, strategies, or administrative measures can be introduced to improve outcomes? Methodology. Research design. This research adopted a qualitative case study approach, which is suitable for detailed examination of complex organization and administrative issue. It allows for in-depth analysis of contextual factors that influence FWA practice. Data collection methods. Three methods of data collection were employed. First, semi-structured interviews were conducted with key stakeholders including HR managers, department heads, and technical staff. These interviews provided insight into perception, practice, and challenge related to FWA. Second, document analysis involved reviewing company policies, performance reports, internal communication, and media articles. This helped to understand formal practices and public-facing narrative around FWAs. Third, non-participant observations were carried out to examine the work environment, usage of digital tools, internal workflow, and the physical layout of workspace. These observations provide additional context to interpret the interview and documents. Third, non-participant observations were carried out to examine the work environment, usage of digital tools, internal workflow, and the physical layout of workspace. These observations provide additional context to interpret the interview and documents. Key finding and analysis Western Digital. Miscommunication during remote work. One of the key issues identified at Western Digital is miscommunication among employees during remote work. These problems stem from the absence of real-time coordination tools and lack of clear task expectations. Employees often face confusion about deadlines and responsibility, leading to inefficiency. Limited access to internal systems remotely. Another significant challenge is the limited access to essential internal systems, especially the statistical process control (SPC) system, when working on site. These systems are only accessible on site, which create technical constraints that hinder productivity and responsiveness. Inconsistent task monitoring mechanism. There are also inconsistencies in monitoring task progress during remote periods. Without proper digital tracking tools, it becomes difficult for managers to monitor performance or for employees to demonstrate accountability, leading to stakeholder dissatisfaction. Theoretical conceptual analysis. This finding corresponds with social technical system theory, which emphasizes that technology and human system must be jointly optimized. In the case of Western Digital, both of system, example communication progress, and the technical system, example SPC access, were not well aligned, resulting in administrative inefficiency. Key finding and analysis Globetronic. Difficulty in assessing remote work performance. In Globetronic, a critical issue is the difficulty in evaluating remote work performance. There is a strong reliance on in-person supervision and no clear indicator exists to assess tasks completed remotely, creating ambiguity in performance measurement. Misinterpretation during online communication. Another challenge is the frequent misinterpretation of message during online communication. The lack of standardized protocol and tone guideline often cause misunderstanding, leading to errors and reduced collaboration efficiency. Restricted software access off-site. Similar to Western Digital, Globetronic face restricted access to specialized software like an AutoCAD, which is essential for certain technical tasks. Inability to use this tool remotely affect both productivity and project timeliness. Theoretical conceptual analysis. This challenge also aligns with socio-technological system theory, demonstrating the inadequate alignment between technical infrastructure and human workflow can limit the success of FWA implementation. Discussion: Western Digital. Theoretical framework integration. Socio-technical system theory includes three core elements: technology, people, and organizational structure. For an FWA model to succeed, this element must be integrated and optimized. At Western Digital, shortcomings in both digital system and behavioral protocol disrupt the efficiency and team coordination. Organizational finding versus theory. The findings show that limited remote system access and lack of task monitoring led to communication breakdown, although FWA policies will present the failure to fully implement these three elements hindered their success. Thus, the theoretical framework was only partially applied. Structural and behavioral analysis. FWA implementation was affected by both structural factors like weak digital infrastructure and behavioral factors such as unclear remote work expectation. These challenges echo the literature, which argues that organizational performance depends on digital readiness and cultural adaptability. Comparative insight. When compared with other high-tech manufacturing firms in Malaysia and abroad, evidence shows that firms adopting FWA policies based on job function have better outcome. Additionally, investment in collaboration platforms like Microsoft Teams and Slack led to improved communication, monitoring, and employee morale. Point. The analysis revealed the need for a holistic reform strategy to improve FWA outcomes. This strategy should include integration of digital systems to support remote access and collaboration, differentiation of WA policies based on job roles and operational requirements, real-time feedback mechanism to enable better communication and accountability, a cultural shift that encourages transparency, autonomy, and digital fluency. Together, this change can enhance both performance and employee satisfaction in the long run.
Globetronics, Theoretical Framework Integration. Socio-technical systems theory outlines three core elements: technology, people, and organizational structure. These elements aim to ensure that both technical systems and human components are jointly optimized to improve efficiency, adaptability, and employee well-being. Organizational findings versus theory. In the context of Globetronics Technology Berhad, findings reveal that disadvantages such as challenges in evaluating performance and limited software accessibility remotely reflected difficulties maintaining consistent productivity in off-site settings. This partially aligns with the theory, as FWAs are most effective when all elements are actively practiced. Structural and behavioral analysis. The case reveals how FWA implementation is shaped by both structural and behavioral factors. In line with the literature, the presence of inadequate digital infrastructure and unclear remote work protocols compromises organizational performance and responsiveness. Comparative insights. Comparative case examples from similar high-tech manufacturing firms in Malaysia and abroad demonstrate that adopting tier FWA policies based on role functions and investing in digital collaboration platforms can yield measurable improvements. Strategic discussion point. This discussion underscores the need for a holistic reform strategy that combines digital system integration, role-specific policy differentiation, and real-time feedback mechanisms with a shift in organizational culture. Recommendations. Strengthen organizational processes. It is recommended that Western Digital Malaysia Sendirian Berhad and Globetronics Technology Berhad undertake a comprehensive review of its internal procedures with particular emphasis on remote work coordination, protocols and role-specific flexibility guidelines to minimize operational disruptions. Enhance capacity and competency. Investments in staff training and development should be prioritized to address observed gaps in knowledge, skills, or attitudes. Improve accountability mechanisms. Introduce or reinforce accountability structures such as regular performance audits, feedback systems, and transparent reporting practices. Foster stakeholder engagement. Engage relevant stakeholders, including employees, line supervisors, and HR departments, and oversight bodies in decision-making processes. Leverage technology and data. Implement digital solutions to automate key functions and utilize data analytics for evidence-based decision-making. Institutionalize monitoring and evaluation. Develop a formal monitoring and evaluation M&E framework to track the implementation of reforms and measure their effectiveness over time. Conclusion and implications. Conclusion. The study affirms that gaps in remote work infrastructure, communication protocols, and accountability mechanisms represent a significant impediment to achieving effective implementation of the FWAs and sustaining high organizational performance in the E&E manufacturing sector. Key implications. Internal process realignment. Western Digital's Malaysia Sendirian Berhad and Globetronics Technology Berhad must realign its internal processes to better reflect principles of efficiency, accountability, and transparency. Strategic implementation of targeted interventions such as digital infrastructure upgrades, structure performance tracking tools, and role-based flexibility frameworks should be implemented. System-wide implications. Broader implications suggest the value of institutional learning and adaptive governance across similar administrative settings.